The sky above Earth shimmered with the faint trails of alien ships, slender, black monoliths whose sheer presence dimmed the continents beneath. Humanity had anticipated many threats, but nothing as immediate or terrifying as the fleet now in orbit. The message arrived before any ship fired a shot, a single transmission from the Galactic Council, broadcast across every frequency, every language, every system capable of receiving it. Humans are weak. Surrender or face obliteration. Silence followed, punctuated only by the hum of Earth's defensive satellites. Then, somewhere in the command room of the United Earth Defense Council, a man's voice cut sharply through the tension. "Not today." "And not ever," said Commander Aric Vahl, his tone calm but resolute. The room, packed with advisors, scientists, and military officers, fell into quiet awe. No one dared challenge him. Aric moved toward the holographic display at the center of the chamber. It flickered to life, revealing the Council's envoy, a towering alien with 4 segmented eyes, its elongated limbs twitching with imperceptible impatience. Its voice was a cold, metallic resonance. "Earthlings," it began, "your species has been studied. Your capabilities are negligible. The Council does not negotiate with insects. Prepare to accept your fate." A murmur ran through the assembly. Some officers clenched their fists, others swallowed hard. Humanity's defenses were far from inadequate by Earth standards, yet the vastness of the Council's power made even the bravest hesitate. Aric's eyes did not leave the alien. "You've underestimated us for centuries," he said evenly. "That was your first mistake." The alien hissed, an involuntary flicker of what might be annoyance, or perhaps curiosity. "Arrogance will not save you." Aric tapped the display, bringing up projections of the fleet. "We don't need arrogance. We need opportunity. And opportunity is what you just gave us." He turned to his second-in-command, Lieutenant Marichin. "Prepare all reconnaissance teams. I want full scans of every vessel, every weapon system, and every weak point. We've studied them before, but now, we get real data. No guesses. No assumptions." Mara's fingers danced over the console. "Understood, Commander. I'll coordinate with the orbital drones and the stealth probes." "Good," Aric said. His mind raced ahead, calculating possibilities, probabilities. The Council's fleet was massive, but human adaptability had never relied solely on size or firepower. Humans fought differently. They improvised, they learned, they turned disadvantages into advantages. In the corner, Dr. Karen Voss, chief scientist of Earth's Defense Technology Division, leaned forward. "Commander, the Council ship's energy grids, their resonance patterns are irregular. It's almost as if their systems weren't fully synchronized. We could exploit that, if we move fast." Aric nodded, eyes narrowing. "Then we move fast. And silently. Every decision counts. Every hesitation could cost us a world." The alien envoy, sensing hesitation, or maybe defiance, tilted its head. "Do you truly believe your species is capable of resistance? You are insignificant in the cosmic order." Aric's gaze hardened. "Insignificant? Maybe to you. But significance isn't measured in size or age. It's measured in will, in adaptation, in the unwillingness to surrender." He turned away from the hologram, addressing the room. "We'll begin immediate mobilization. Defensive stations are already on high alert, but I want offensive readiness too. This isn't just about defense. It's about proving that humanity is more than you think." Mara interjected, her voice firm. "Sir, the planetary shield generators are stable at 83%. Should we risk full activation?" Aric's eyes flicked to the holographic schematics. "Yes. And patch the gap in Sector 12. We can't leave vulnerabilities. We don't get second chances against them." Outside the command center, the Council's fleet drifted like silent judgment. Massive cruisers bristling with weapons, tendrils of energy feeding into systems no human engineer could fully decipher. Yet Aric saw beyond the fear it inspired. He saw patterns. Weak points. Complacency born from arrogance. And in that arrogance, he smelled opportunity. The communications officer interrupted, voice tight. "Commander, we're receiving movement in the Oort cloud. Sensors indicate a fleet formation, something large. They're positioning near the outer edges." Aric leaned over the display. "Show me." The hologram zoomed outward, revealing a shadowy cluster of Council ships moving with predatory precision. "They think we're weak," Aric murmured. "They think we won't notice." He straightened, turning to the room. "They're wrong. And we're about to show them exactly how wrong." A junior officer, barely 25 and shaking, asked, "Sir, what's our first move?" Aric's eyes burned. "First, we survive. Then, we observe. Then, we adapt. And when the moment is right, we strike, not just to defend Earth, but to announce to the galaxy that humans are not to be dismissed." The room absorbed his words, a mixture of fear and resolve rippling through every officer present. No one knew exactly how far the humans could go, but they trusted the man who had never backed down from impossible odds. "Begin the scans," Aric ordered. "Deploy every probe, every stealth ship. Keep communications tight. And Mara, keep me updated minute by minute. We cannot afford surprises, not now, not ever." As the staff scurried into motion, Aric lingered at the viewport. The alien ships rotated slowly, their shadows crawling across the Earth like a prelude to doom. Yet in that darkness, Aric felt a spark, not fear, not despair, but determination. Humanity had been underestimated for too long. And now, with the galaxy watching, they had no choice but to rise. The first probe launched silently from a hidden orbital facility, its stealth field flickering into existence. A tiny dot in the void, yet capable of more than the Council could imagine. Aric watched it disappear into the distance, and a grim smile tugged at his lips. "This is just the beginning," he muttered. "And they'll regret every second of it." The envoy's transmission ended, the last words echoing in every system. "Resistance is futile." Aric turned, voice steady and unwavering. "No. Resistance is human." The blackness of space stretched endlessly, broken only by the glint of distant stars and the faint outlines of Council cruisers in the Oort cloud. Commander Aric Vahl stood on the bridge of the Resolute, the human flagship, eyes scanning the holodisplay as data streamed in from stealth probes. Every sensor ping, every fluctuation, every anomaly was meticulously analyzed. Humanity's first strike would not be blind, it would be precise. "Commander," Lieutenant Marichin said, her voice calm but urgent, "the probes confirm irregular energy resonance in the Council fleet. Their shields fluctuate unpredictably, and the pattern repeats every 3.7 minutes. If we exploit it, we could bypass their defenses entirely." Aric's eyes narrowed. "Timing is everything. Prepare the strike teams. I want coordinated attacks on those weak points. Every ship that breaches their shields must return data, nothing else." He turned to Dr. Kieran Voss, who hovered over a holographic model of a derelict planet near the Kuiper Belt. "Kieran, you've been studying that wreckage. Any chance of uncovering the edge we need?" Voss's thin fingers traced the model. "The derelict isn't just debris. It's centuries old, predating even the Council's records of human contact. Its core still emits a faint energy signature, something unlike anything we've engineered. I believe it could amplify our weapons, or destabilize their systems, if harnessed correctly." Aric's lips pressed together. "Then we move quickly. Send a small team to retrieve it. Stealth only. No engagement unless necessary. Mara, coordinate cloaking protocols for the insertion." The bridge hummed with controlled urgency. Officers and crew worked in silent synchronization. Humanity was preparing not to match the Council in size or firepower, but to exploit ingenuity and adaptability, their most human traits. Hours later, the stealth shuttle Vigilance slipped past the outermost Council patrols, its adaptive camouflage rendering it nearly invisible against the star-strewn void. On board, Mara and a team of engineers and soldiers held their breath as they approached the derelict. Distance, 500 meters, Mara whispered into the comms. Visual confirmation, structure intact, but energy readings unstable. Proceed with caution, Aric's voice replied over secure channels. We can't afford any miscalculation. Remember, this isn't salvage, it's leverage. The shuttle's grappling arms extended, securing a core fragment from the derelict. The instant they touched it, the energy hummed, pulsing through the vessel like a heartbeat. Engineers quickly stabilized it in containment fields. Back on the Resolute, Voss examined the fragment. It's a resonance matrix, far more efficient than our reactors. With calibration, it could override the Council's shields temporarily, giving us a window for tactical strikes. Aric's jaw tightened. Then we use that window. But carefully. Timing, coordination, and discipline. Nothing reckless. The first strike commenced near the outer edge of the Oort cloud. Human stealth ships, using the resonance patterns, darted between massive Council cruisers. Energy pulses erupted, disabling shields, triggering localized system failures. The Council ships, built for intimidation and endurance, faltered against humans who anticipated, adapted, and exploited every weakness. From the bridge, Aric's eyes reflected the tactical holomap. Target their communication nodes. Confuse them. Force them into disarray. Every moment they hesitate, we gain the upper hand. Mara's fingers moved like lightning. Nodes disabled. Fleet formation breaking apart. Council vessels attempting regroup. Excellent, Aric said. Now pull back, regroup, and analyze. We strike again, but only when we control the outcome completely. They underestimate us, that's their fatal error. Amid the success, a warning ping sounded. Sensors detected a Council strike force, fast, elite, and heavily armed, approaching the human fleet's flank. The window for retreat was narrowing. Sir, an intercepting force is incoming. Estimated arrival, 4 minutes, reported a junior officer. Aric's mind raced. Split the fleet. Draw them into a narrow corridor near the Kuiper Belt. Their numbers are meaningless if maneuverability is restricted. Mara, adjust stealth paths to lure them in. Voss, ready the resonance fragment for emergency amplification. We might need it to level the field. The Council strike ships emerged from the shadows, sleek, predatory, bristling with weapons. They anticipated a conventional human retreat. Instead, they met precision. Humans, exploiting every advantage, engaged in hit-and-run attacks. Shields collapsed in moments, engines faltered, and Council officers struggled to comprehend the human tactics. One Council vessel, larger than most, fired a concentrated plasma stream. Mara's voice cut through the chaos, shields holding at 70%. Redirect energy to aft thrusters, evade the main blast trajectory. The plasma swept past, tearing a swath through empty space. Resolute emerged unscathed. Aric clenched his fist. Good. Maintain pressure. We can't let them recover. Voss leaned over a console. Commander, with the fragment, we can destabilize their main engines for 30 seconds. It's enough to scatter the fleet if timed correctly. Aric's eyes glinted. Do it. But no more than 30 seconds. Precision only. This isn't destruction, it's leverage. Every strike teaches us about them, and every mistake teaches them about us. Within moments, the energy matrix pulsed, sending a shockwave through the lead Council cruiser. Engines faltered, systems flickered, and their formation wobbled. Humanity struck with surgical precision, exploiting every flaw, turning asymmetry into dominance. As the elite Council strike force retreated in confusion, Aric allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. They expected fear. They got strategy. Mara looked at him, determination etched on her face. Commander, the fragment's resonance, it's compatible with our ship's engines. We could escalate this, overwhelm larger fleets if necessary. Aric shook his head. We escalate carefully. Every move counts. We prove we can survive first. Then, we show them we can control the battlefield. The Council, arrogant and unyielding, had been blindsided by human ingenuity. And though the battle was far from over, one fact became undeniable: humanity could fight not just with courage, but with foresight, adaptability, and daring intelligence. Aric turned toward the viewport, gazing at the scattered remnants of the Council formation. Stars reflected off his eyes like sparks of defiance. "They underestimated us," he murmured, voice low but resolute. "And they will regret it." Mara stood beside him. "Commander, they'll be back. Stronger. Smarter." Aric nodded, his jaw firm. "Let them come. We'll be ready. And next time, they won't just see resistance, they'll see ascendancy." The galaxy held its breath. Human ships, once dismissed as insignificant, now glided through the void with purpose, a symphony of strategy and precision. Commander Aric Vahl stood on the bridge of the Resolute, observing the Council's largest fleet massing near the capital system. Hundreds of vessels bristled with weaponry, their designs meant to intimidate and dominate. Yet, for the first time, they hesitated. "Sir," Lieutenant Marichin reported, her fingers dancing over the tactical console, "the Council has consolidated their main fleet. They're preparing to engage us directly. Full-scale assault imminent." Aric's gaze hardened. "Then we control the battlefield. Position the ships along the asteroid belts. Force them into narrow corridors. Every advantage counts." Dr. Karen Voss leaned over the resonance fragment containment. "Commander, the fragment's amplification can override their shields, but only once per engagement. If we time it right, it'll cripple their command vessels long enough for our fleets to penetrate and disrupt formation." Aric's eyes flicked to the holomap. "Timing, coordination, precision. Nothing more, nothing less. Mara, ensure all pilots understand, we strike as one, or not at all." Across the bridge, the crew moved with silent urgency. Each individual understood the weight of the moment. Humanity was not just defending, it was asserting its place in a galaxy that had long underestimated it. The Council fleet advanced, energy flares dancing along their hulls. The first human ships, small and agile, slipped through asteroid corridors, striking fast and vanishing before retaliation could materialize. The Council's confidence wavered. They were powerful, but predictable. Humans were anything but. Aric's voice cut through the tension. "Engage resonance fragment on my mark. Wait for my signal." Minutes stretched, the void tense with anticipation. Then Aric gave the command, "Now." The fragment pulsed, releasing a concentrated wave of energy. Council shields flickered, systems overloaded, engines stuttered. Command vessels spun uncontrollably, throwing formations into chaos. Humanity struck immediately, precision attacks tore through their ranks. "Main cruiser disabled," Mara exclaimed. "Fleet cohesion collapsing." Aric allowed himself a brief smile. "Good. Exploit every opening. No mercy, no hesitation. This is our moment." Council officers struggled to regain control, issuing orders that were already obsolete. Human ships adapted instantly, anticipating counterattacks, dodging flares, and hitting weak points with surgical accuracy. In the chaos, the Resolute maneuvered directly toward the Council's flagship. Aric's hand hovered over the attack console, calculating trajectories, shield capacities, and weapon cooldowns. "Focus fire on the energy nodes. We break them, we end the battle." A Council officer's voice crackled across comms, trembling with disbelief. "Human vessels, how is this possible? Our technology is centuries ahead, and yet..." Aric interrupted, calm but sharp. "Adaptability, foresight, and resolve. 3 things your calculations never accounted for. You misjudged humanity. And now, you pay the price." The flagship faltered as resonance pulses destabilized its core. Explosions rippled across its surface, forcing the remaining Council vessels into retreat. Mara's hands flew over the console. "They're pulling back, Commander. Their formation, it's breaking apart entirely." Aric's gaze never left the holomap. "Push forward. Maintain pressure. Let them feel the consequences of underestimating us. In the midst of battle, Dr. Voss spoke urgently. Commander, the fragment can overload the remaining command arrays, but it's risky. Could destabilize our ships if mismanaged. Aric's jaw tightened. Risk is necessary. We either end this now or fight a prolonged war we can't afford. Prepare the amplification. With a pulse of controlled energy, the fragment sent shockwaves through the Council's remaining command vessels. Engines failed, weapons misfired, and communications collapsed. The human fleet, agile and coordinated, struck relentlessly. Council officers scrambled to issue orders, but every move had been anticipated. From the flagship bridge, Aric activated the final sequence, a simultaneous strike aimed at crippling the remaining fleet while ensuring minimal collateral damage to occupied sectors. Beams of energy cut through the void, hitting key nodes, disabling weapons, and forcing surrender. The Council envoy, appearing across human comms once more, trembled. Your species, how? This is impossible. Aric's expression was unyielding. Impossible only exists until humans do it. Consider this a lesson in underestimation. Silence followed. Across the galaxy, transmissions recorded the event. Worlds that once mocked humanity now watched in awe. Humans had not only survived, they had turned the tide, shattered the myth of Council invincibility, and demonstrated their ascendancy. Mara leaned against the console, exhaustion etched on her face. Commander, we actually did it. They recognize us now. Aric's eyes scanned the holomap one last time. Recognition is not enough. We must ensure they remember. Humanity will not bow, not now, not ever. Dr. Voss stepped forward. The fragment, it has stabilized. We can use it to reinforce defenses, and with further research, we might advance our technology beyond even Council expectations. Aric nodded. Then that's our next step. Strength, vigilance, and adaptation. They thought humans were weak. They were wrong. And the galaxy will never make that mistake again. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the transformation of a species. The Council fleet retreated, battered and humbled, while humanity's ships held formation, resilient, coordinated, and ready for anything. Aric turned toward his crew, voice steady and resolute. Today, we proved what it means to be human. Not because we have the largest fleet, not because we wield the most advanced technology, but because we refuse to surrender. We adapt. We endure. We overcome. Mara's gaze met his. And the galaxy saw it. Aric allowed himself a brief moment of satisfaction, though he knew the fight was far from over. Yes, he said. And they will remember it. Always. The Resolute led the human fleet away from the shattered remnants of the Council's assault, a beacon of defiance in the void. Humanity had risen from the shadows of doubt to claim its rightful place among the stars. And for the first time, the galaxy truly trembled. The void beyond the Council's capital system stretched endlessly, an infinite expanse of stars and dark matter, broken only by the human fleet's steady formation. Commander Aric Vahl stood on the bridge of the Resolute, his gaze fixed on distant points of light, the last remnants of the Council's retreating armada. Humanity had won the battle, but the war for recognition, and for survival, was far from over. Sir, Lieutenant Marichin reported, scanning the holomap. The Council has pulled back to their outer territories. We've disrupted supply lines and communications. They're regrouping, but they'll be cautious. For now, we have freedom to move. Aric nodded, rubbing the bridge's railing thoughtfully. Freedom is temporary. They'll test us again, sooner than we expect. But for the first time, the galaxy sees humans on equal footing. That's leverage we cannot waste. Dr. Kieran Voss approached, holding a data pad displaying the resonance fragment's output. Commander, our analysis shows the fragment can do more than disrupt shields. It can interface with the Council's networked command systems. With careful calibration, we could destabilize entire sectors without firing a single shot. Aric's eyes glinted with determination. We won't use it recklessly. This is leverage, not destruction. But it's a tool we'll need if they push too far. Prepare for remote deployment. Keep it contained until the moment demands it. The bridge hummed with quiet urgency as the crew executed orders. Sensors monitored not only Council space but also frontier systems where human colonies had begun establishing footholds. Humanity's ascendancy wasn't just about proving strength, it was about securing a future. "Sir," Mara said, voice tight with anticipation, sensor sweeps detect a Council probe heading toward Proxima Sector. "They're testing our reaction times." Aric's gaze narrowed. "Then we show them we've learned from their mistakes. Deploy intercept teams. Capture the probe. Extract data. Leave nothing to chance." Minutes later, stealth ships slipped past asteroids and debris, converging on the probe with silent precision. It had no chance against human coordination. Within moments, the probe was secured aboard the Resolute. "Data intact," Mara confirmed. "It carries schematics, fleet movements, and patrol schedules. They're preparing for counterattacks, but we now know when and where." Aric allowed himself a brief smile. Information is power. Humanity fights smarter than they do. Always. As the crew analyzed the recovered data, communications crackled. A Council envoy, their voice strained with authority but tinged with disbelief, broke through the channels. "Humanity, your tactics defy logic. Your species is resilient beyond prediction. Cease operations in Council space, or face consequences." Aric leaned forward, calm but assertive. "Consequences are meaningless if your calculations ignore human adaptability. We operate not to defy, but to secure. You've underestimated us for too long. That ends now." The Council fell silent, as if absorbing the weight of his words. Across distant systems, alien fleets paused, reconsidering their assumptions. Humanity had not only survived, it had shifted the balance of perception in its favor. Dr. Voss tapped her console, eyes wide with excitement. "Commander, with the probe's data, we can refine the resonance fragments calibration. We could extend its effect to multiple vessels, even an entire fleet, with minimal risk." Aric nodded. "Good. Start the simulations immediately. We need every advantage if the Council tests our colonies or frontier operations. And Mara, keep the fleet on high alert. Coordination and discipline will be our greatest weapons going forward." Hours later, the human fleet approached a contested sector. Council patrols maintained minimal presence, assuming human forces were scattered or weakened. Aric saw an opportunity not for destruction, but for demonstration. "Deploy the reconnaissance teams," he ordered. "Move as though we're probing defenses, but remain ready to respond to any Council maneuvers. Observation is our next step in asserting influence." The stealth ships glided silently, scanning planets and stations. Data flowed in streams, resource locations, fleet positions, communication hubs. Humanity had turned reconnaissance into an offensive tool. Every discovery strengthened their position. Mara's voice interrupted, tinged with excitement. "Sir, we've detected an abandoned Council station in orbit around Halcyon Prime. It's centuries old but intact. Its systems could be repurposed for forward operations, giving us a strategic foothold in Council territory." Aric's lips pressed together. "Excellent. Prepare a boarding team. No engagement unless provoked. We claim it not by force, but by ingenuity. This will be a statement: humanity secures opportunity where others hesitate." Hours later, a team led by Mara docked with the station. Energy grids hummed to life under human hands, control panels reconfiguring to recognize their commands. Within moments, the station was operational, providing intelligence and tactical coordination across the sector. Back on the Resolute, Aric watched as the station came online. "Every move we make now builds perception," he said softly. "The Council thought us weak. They were wrong. Every success, every operation, reinforces that truth. Humanity isn't just surviving, we're leading by example." Dr. Voss approached again, her tone cautious but determined. Commander, we've analyzed long-term potential of the resonance fragment and repurposed council systems. Humanity could leapfrog decades of technology if we continue at this pace. But we must avoid overreach. Careless use could spark a full-scale council retaliation. Aric nodded, the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. We adapt, we endure, and we rise strategically. Strength without wisdom invites disaster. We've earned our victories, but we respect the balance required to maintain them. As the human fleet moved through contested space, reports arrived from colonies, worlds once uncertain now inspired. Human engineers, soldiers, and scientists worked together to expand influence, defend settlements, and fortify systems. Humanity's ascendancy was more than military, it was cultural, technological, and moral. The Council, watching from afar, could only acknowledge what they had once dismissed. Humans were no longer insignificant, they were innovators, survivors, and leaders capable of reshaping galactic dynamics. Mara leaned against the console, exhaustion clear on her face. Commander, the galaxy sees us differently now. Every system we touch, every fleet we outmaneuver, humanity is building a reputation. Aric turned, voice steady and unwavering. Exactly. Reputation is earned through action, not intimidation. Today, we cement not just survival, but influence. And we do it with precision, ingenuity, and unity, the truest markers of human strength. Outside the viewport, the stars glimmered silently. The human fleet, coordinated and resilient, moved forward through council space, a living testament to defiance, adaptability, and strategic brilliance. Humanity had transcended perception. They had become a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. Aric's gaze rested on the horizon, thoughts unspoken but resolute. They underestimated us once, he murmured. The galaxy will never make that mistake again. And for the first time, humanity wasn't merely a participant in the galactic order, they were shaping it.